I went to the school to do an inspection and swung by the cafeteria to grab lunch. I noticed a guy who'd only gotten the free soup, so I grabbed him a meal without thinking much of it. Someone nearby whispered, "Isn't that our school's top student? Who does she think she is, talking to him?" Before I could even process that, a female teacher came rushing over and slapped me across the face. "What class are you in? You little tramp, how dare you hit on my son?" The guy freaked out, grabbing her arm. "Mom, it's not what it looks like." She shook him off and grabbed my wrist. "Come on, we're going to the principal." I tried to explain. "You've got it wrong. I'm from the State Department of Education." She laughed in my face. "State Department of Education? At your age? Nice try. Let's go. I just have a baby face, okay?" When she dragged me into Principal Zachary Thorne's office, she was still going off. "Mr. Thorne, my son is our top student. This girl was trying to seduce him. She needs to be expelled." He turned to me, all serious. "What class are you in? Give me your parents' number." "You're expelled." I smiled. "I can give it to you, but I don't think you'll have the guts to call." Zachary Thorne didn't know what to say to that. The teacher, Rebecca Foster, jumped in. "Mr. Thorne, look at her attitude. She needs to be punished." I leaned back in my chair, rubbing my wrist where she'd grabbed me. It was red. Less talking, more dialing. Thorne took the bait and picked up his desk phone. "What's the number?" I gave it to him. He dialed, put it on speaker, and said smugly, "Hello, this is Principal Zachary Thorne from Ivy Ridge High School. Is this the student's parent? Your daughter has been seducing male students at school. You need to come in immediately." Silence. Then a confused voice. "What? What are you talking about? Who?" Thorne repeated himself. "Your daughter has been seducing male students. Get to the school now." More silence. I had to hold back my laugh. If Thorne knew who he was talking to, he'd probably pee his pants. Too bad he didn't. He just stood there, all smug, waiting for my parent to show up and grovel. "Mr. Thorne," the voice on the phone got serious. "Are you sure you're talking about my daughter?" "Of course I'm sure." Thorne snapped. "Are you coming or not?" "I'll be there soon." "Mr. Thorne, until I arrive, don't let anyone touch her." Click. Thorne hung up and scoffed. Pretty cocky. Rebecca came over. "What'd they say?" "Said they're on their way, told me not to touch her." Rebecca's eyes lit up. "Mr. Thorne, I have an idea. Let's call a school assembly and make her apologize in front of everyone. Set an example for all those other girls with ideas." Thorne hesitated. "Is that really necessary? Why wouldn't it be?" Rebecca's voice went shrill. "My son ranked first in the whole city. He's our star student. If we don't deal with girls like her, anyone will think they can go after him." Thorne nodded and was about to agree when Rebecca reached for my hair. I grabbed her wrist and twisted. She yelped, her face going white. "I can walk myself." I let go and stared her down. Rebecca held her wrist, backing up half a step. Whatever insults she'd been about to spit out, she swallowed them. She hadn't expected me to fight back, or to be that strong. In the hallway, she walked ahead of me, constantly looking back to glare, running her mouth the whole time. "Shameless tramp, little homewrecker, trash." I stopped walking. She stopped too, watching me nervously. "Watch your mouth." I didn't yell, but she backed up anyway, her lips trembling. She didn't say another word. Thorne called from behind us. "Hurry up, everyone's waiting at the field." Over 2,000 students were already lined up on the field. A sea of people, all whispering to each other. Rebecca shoved me onto the stage, trying to make me trip, but I kept my balance without even wobbling. She looked disappointed. Thorne walked to the mic and cleared his throat. "Today we're holding an emergency school assembly." The field went quiet. "This girl," he pointed right at my face, "seduced our school's top student, Ethan Carter, in the cafeteria." The crowd erupted. Everyone started whispering. Rebecca grabbed the mic. "Ethan Carter is my son. First in the entire city. He's our school's pride. He's Ivy League material." She turned on me, her finger practically in my face. "Girls like this have tried before. They just want to ruin my son. Ruin the school's hope. Who do they think they are? They're not even worthy of talking to him." Thorne took the mic back, softening his tone, trying to look generous. "If you apologize publicly and write a letter promising it won't happen again, and if your attitude is good, I might not expel you." Looking at his fake face, I couldn't help but laugh. "You don't even know who I am, and you want an apology?" Rebecca lost it. "Who are you? Who could you possibly be? You're just a shameless little tramp." She charged at me to slap me again. I stepped aside. She missed, lost her balance, stumbled forward, and almost fell off the stage. The crowd burst out laughing. Rebecca's face turned bright red. "What are you laughing at?" She screamed at the students. Then she spun around to face me, looking unhinged. She pulled a red marker from her pocket and uncapped it. "Think you're tough? Think you can dodge forever?" She came at me with the marker raised. "I'm going to write homewrecker on your face, and it won't wash off. Let the whole school see what you really are." The laughter stopped. People gasped. Some yelled that she'd gone too far. Just as the marker was about to touch my face, I kicked her to the ground. Rebecca screamed, her face going pale. With my other hand, I pulled out my work ID and held it in front of her eyes. "Look closely." She squinted, leaned in, and her eyes went wide. The ID read, "State Department of Education, Deputy Director, Lydia Monroe." Her lips trembled. Her face went white as a ghost. I let her go. Her legs gave out and she collapsed. I turned to face the 2,000 students, holding up my ID. My voice clear. "I'm Lydia Monroe, Deputy Director of the State Department of Education." Dead silence. Thorne stared for a few seconds, then burst out laughing. "You think we're stupid?" Rebecca instantly perked up. "Right! That ID has to be fake." Thorne sneered, looking me up and down. "Deputy Director? How old are you? You look like a teenager." "Who are you trying to fool?" Rebecca got close to my ID, shaking her head. "Counterfeiters are getting good these days. It almost looks real. If I hadn't seen the real thing, I might have believed it." Thorne shouted to the crowd. "Find out what class this Lydia Monroe is in." The dean flipped through the roster, then looked up. "Mr. Thorne, there's no one by that name." Rebecca pointed at my face, screeching. "I knew it. You snuck in from outside." She was getting more worked up. You're probably from that rundown school nearby. You snuck in here to chase boys. I've seen plenty of lowlifes like you. The students started murmuring, but Rebecca didn't care. Look at her, dressed all nice, but she's just a delinquent. Faking credentials, sneaking into a good school, targeting top students. She turned and yelled at the crowd. Security! Where's security? Grab her. The security chief ran up with 2 guards. They stood next to me but didn't make a move, probably because they'd seen me take Rebecca down and weren't feeling confident. Rebecca leaned toward Thorne, deliberately speaking loud enough for everyone to hear. Mr. Thorne, this kind of criminal, faking credentials, sneaking into school, going after our top student, call the cops. Send her to juvie. Thorne nodded and pointed at me, acting all righteous. Who are you really? Tell the truth or I'm calling 911 right now. I looked at him calmly. I told you, I'm the deputy director of the State Department of Education. Rebecca scoffed. Still lying? You're a teenage girl. How could you be a deputy director? Look at yourself. Do you even look like an adult? Thorne piled on. Right. What deputy director shows up at a school alone? No driver? No staff? Who are you trying to fool? Rebecca kept going. Call the cops. This little tramp is a menace to society. She belongs in juvie. Thorne pulled out his phone and dialed 911 inches front of everyone. Hello, 911? This is Principal Zachary Thorne from Ivy Ridge High School. We've caught someone with fake State Department of Education credentials, sneaking into school to seduce students, disrupting the educational environment. Yes, send officers right away. He hung up, crossed his arms and looked at me smugly. Rebecca put her hands on her hips. Just wait. When the cops get here, you'll be crying. Faking government credentials? That's serious. She turned to the crowd. Everyone look. This is what happens when you go after top students. Let this be a lesson. I stood on stage, a small smile on my face, saying nothing. Rebecca saw me smiling and got even madder. She got in my face. You're still smiling? Let's see you smile at the police station. Thorne came over too, threatening. Faking government credentials? That's 2 or 3 years in prison. Your life is over, kid. I looked at him sarcastically. Oh no, I'm so scared. But Rebecca thought I actually was scared. Her voice got even shriller. What? Scared now? Too late. You were so cocky before. Now you're scared? I nodded. Fine. Let's wait then. Sirens in the distance. Rebecca practically jumped for joy, pointing at the school gate. Hear that? The cops are here. You're done. Thorne straightened his tie, standing tall, ready to greet the police. A black sedan and 3 patrol cars pulled through the gate. Rebecca pointed at them, yelling at me. See that? They're all here to arrest you. I crossed my arms, still smiling. The person who stepped out of the black sedan was State Department of Education Director Nathan Brooks. His face was dark as a storm cloud, radiating intensity. Behind him were city police officers and a whole team of cops. Rebecca pointed at me, screaming at the officers. Officers! It's her! This girl from outside the school! She faked State Department credentials and snuck in to seduce my son. Arrest her! Director Brooks didn't even look at her. He walked straight onto the stage. He came up to me, looked me over to make sure I was okay, then spoke. Miss Monroe is our State Department of Education's deputy director. Who's been giving her trouble? Dead silence. Rebecca's finger, still pointing at me, froze in midair. You said she's what?